Stop.
What's going on?
Another day. Another day.
Busy day?
Sorry. Every day got something going on, but it's all right.
Which one of us good looking, me or Dr. P?
That's you. That's all you.
No, it might be yours.
Nah, that's all you. All you, mama.
Thank you, whoever said it though. If it was for him, I'm thinking on this behalf.
Yeah, they want to hop on. I thought somebody wanted to hop on already.
Oh man, they coming through the door.
Let's see. All right, you want to hop on already? Let's kick it off that way. But we even ask questions.
You at the hospital right now?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Did they pop out?
Yeah, she must have popped out. All right, let's run through some questions.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the monthly Q&A. I am Cola Red, and we have Doc P. Tonight, you have 3 different ways that you could participate. I have questions that have already been submitted, and the submitted people said that I've been neglecting the list. So I will try to go back and forth, y'all. It's a lot to be behind the scenes. I wish I had my mama so she could tell y'all how much it is to conduct the live.
Yeah, because all these people, like, y'all got all the opportunity to ask questions, send questions in. Y'all want to ask these old obscure questions, and then I want to hop on the live and ask them. So it's I agree. All the people that sent in questions first, let's hit them first. Stick to it.
But you can join the live. You can send a request to join and ask your question in person. You can also use the question mark bubble at the bottom of the screen with the question mark, because again, as the comments are rolling through, it's hard for me to capture what you're saying. I see some of the comments, but it's easier if it's an actual question to put it there so I can go back and forth. And then again, I do have some submitted ones. So I'm gonna start with a submitted, but I'm going back and forth, okay? So don't be mad.
Don't put them in the chat. Put them in the bubble, because I'm hard to read them too. So
yeah, we see some of the highs. Y'all be having me laughing when I'm trying to keep a straight face and act like this is a professional environment. But for questions, please put it in the bubble because it makes it easier.
What's the first one?
All right. First up. Sorry, I gotta pull up the list. All right. When can you start working out after a myomectomy or a hysterectomy?
It really just depends on how they were done. So with laparoscopic surgery, that's a tough question. So, all right. So the barrier to get back to working out with hysterectomy is the incision on top of your uterus. So, on top of your uterus, on top of your vagina, excuse me. So when you have a hysterectomy, everything gets removed through the vagina and the vagina gets repaired. So the barrier to that is like you can't do a lot of straining and pushing down on that pelvic floor because it has to heal. So if you have a hysterectomy, typically it's about between 4 to 6 weeks. Usually people are going to say 6 weeks. For myomectomy, you can get back quicker. The problem with myomectomy is if you have an open myomectomy, you have an incision that's in your belly, and then you don't want to put a lot of pressure and strain on that. So I'm very liberal with my patients personally, because I know what I'm doing, and as far as like what I'm doing with surgery and how I put things back together again. So I let them get back to their normal routine a little bit quicker than most. For my personal myomectomy, which I can only speak for myself, with my myomectomies, my open myomectomies, they can pretty much do normal activities after about 1 to 2 weeks, but no ab work or no super heavy lifting for at least a month. For hysterectomies, same thing, just no ab work or super heavy lifting, for 4 to 6 weeks as well too. But everybody's a little bit different. Some people gonna tell you 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm about, if you gotta get a check, get back to work. Whenever you can get back to work, As long as you're not, doing no manual labor or like postal workers or anything like that, go make your money. You can get back to work.
All right. What can I do to reduce the risk of breast cancer?
Well, one, staying up to date with your annual exams, right? So, for general, women 40 and older should be getting mammograms every year. Everybody else, like everybody under 40, you should be going to get breast exams with your doctor, and also have breast self-awareness, where you know what feels abnormal with your breasts, and pretty much checking on that pretty regularly. In addition to that, taking a very good history, like, so if mama and auntie and them ain't telling you like who died and why they died and all that stuff, like, they're doing a disservice, because a lot of times, like, you'll have a significant family history of breast cancer, and it's just hidden because there's no conversation about it. Because if you have a first degree relative, like a mom, sister, that had or died of breast cancer very early, like in their 30s or 40s, your risk of BRCA gene are way higher. So your doctor needs to know that, because there's genetic testing to find out if you have the BRCA gene, which is the gene for breast and ovarian cancer. And you want to know that way earlier than later.
All right. How do you effectively get rid of belly fat? Is it true that hormones control this in women?
No, hormones do not control this in women. And this is a misconception that women have. There's a lot of things that you can blame on your ovarian hormones, but there's a lot of things that you cannot. So realize your hormone, when women say hormones, realize there are way more hormones in your body other than just your ovaries. Your ovaries are really responsible for two major hormones, estrogen and progesterone. There are hormones that are going on in your body that control weight way more than estrogen and progesterone, because really they don't. Estrogen and progesterone don't really control weight that way. You can look at thyroid, cortisol. There are other hormones that have a way bigger impact on weight than your ovarian hormone. So, and then a lot of times too, and this is not for everybody. So there are some women with thyroid disease, with cortisol issues, that have true issues with losing weight and having problems with weight. But the overwhelming majority of you women and men have weight problems because we can't wait to eat. And so your issue is in the kitchen as opposed to what's going on in your internal body. I just had a conversation with ladies like, but I eat fine. I don't have, I eat good or whatever, while she's drinking, her 16-ounce coffee with all types of cream and sugars in it. It's like you do so many things and put so many things in your body that you don't even pay attention to, and you don't think that are putting weight on you, but they most definitely do.
All right. Question in the chat. In the on the screen, I did see, yes, this live will be saved. We save every single one that we do each month, and I also save it to YouTube. So if you have a friend that you would like to share that doesn't have social media or doesn't have Instagram specifically, and they want to be able to get this free game, we have it available there as well. All right. I'm going to go to a question in the chat because I'm going to be fair and go back and forth.
Who keep popping in and out trying to get on and not on? That's annoying. They act like let's see.
Do you have surgical privileges at any of the Advent Health facilities in Illinois?
At who? Advocate?
Well, it says Advent Health.
Advent
I don't think
Health?
that's not Advocate. So I've heard of.
If somebody want to join, I'll get them in a minute. So let me explain something to y'all. So medicine is a little bit different as far as where you, like, what you can do. So for doctors, we can't treat people or even like do surgeries that we can't just go to hospitals. Even though I'm credentialed in Illinois, I live in Chicago, I, I have to be credentialed at a particular hospital to actually see patients there and actually do surgeries there. So, and the credentialing process is not like, hey, I'm Dr. Johnson, I went to such medical school, I want to be on. Like, it is a long process for every single hospital to be credentialed at that hospital. So, you know, when you say, oh yeah, can you just come and just do this surgery for me? It just doesn't work that way. Like, it's that I'm at my hospitals for a reason. I wish I could be credentialed at every hospital and just go in there and do whatever I wanted to do. It doesn't work that way. You have to more so conform to the doctors' hospitals where they're credentialed at, as opposed to us doing it for them, because we would never be able to credential at all the places to serve everybody. So yeah, I would like to help everybody, but no, Advent, I'm not sure exactly which hospitals those are. But my main hospitals are University of Chicago Ingalls, as well as Mount Sinai Hospital. So those are my two major hospitals, and I do so much work at all. Getting credentialed somewhere else to do the one surgery that you may need is not, it's not very beneficial for anybody. So yeah, that's that. I think somebody want to hop on.
All right. So if you just joined in, because I see the numbers changing quite a bit, you're more than welcome to ask a question tonight. If you want to ask your question, please drop it in the question mark with the question bubble. And then you're more than welcome to also send a request to join if you want to ask your question yourself. All right. You said you got somebody that's trying to join?
I just gave her access to join the show.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We are great. What's your question?
It's a privilege and a pleasure. Yes, so I put it in the bubble, but I wanted to ask, I've had 3 C-sections, but
Okay.
I'm 48 now. And I currently have some fibroids. I'm with my doctor tomorrow to check up because they did intro vaginal sonogram thing the other day. So I have multiple. One is very big. I want to get it out. But
When you
because
say
I've
very
had 3
big,
C-sections.
what's
Huh?
very big? What's very big?
The biggest one, I'll get the exact measurement tomorrow. But the last we checked, the biggest one is like 6 centimeters.
Not that.
I could literally feel it.
It's not that big.
Okay.
It's like 6 centimeters is that.
Okay. Because I can feel, yeah, there are others too that are smaller, but that's the biggest one. So
Okay.
to do another surgery would be a force cut on top of already I have. So I'm contemplating. My doctor is encouraging me to do a hysterectomy, but I'm 48. I mean, I really don't want to have any more kids there. I'm not looking for any more kids. Do you think I should do the hysterectomy, being a fourth cut, just to prevent myself from having?
Just because you have 3 C-sections does not mean that you can't have a laparoscopic surgery. You could still have a laparoscopic hysterectomy. So hysterectomy can be done with small incisions still, even though you've had a large incisions for your C-sections. Now, if you wanted a myomectomy and to save your uterus,
I wanted that initially. I wanted to save it.
if you wanted a myomectomy to save your uterus, that's a way bigger surgery, and I would ask you, what's your goal at that point? And if you say, hey, I want to do everything to have a baby, then okay, then you know that's going to be a bigger surgery, and you should give all effort to having a child. But if you don't have any interest in that, and you do need surgery for fibroids, then it would make more sense to get a hysterectomy. And with the hysterectomy, you can do that minimally invasive with small incisions and have a much quicker recovery and a much easier time. You know, it just kind of really depends on what you want to do. But I would not let someone say, just because you've had 3 C-sections, you can't have a laparoscopic surgery, because that's not true.
Okay, so you suggest that I do the laparoscopic which is minimally invasive and recover quicker.
Yes, if you're going to do a
Hysterectomy.
if you're going to do a hysterectomy, yes. Now, mind you, some doctors are not going to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Some doctors are not going to feel comfortable doing that. So you may have to look around for a doctor that's comfortable with 3 sections and doing that. But it definitely can be done. Don't let them be like, oh no, there's no way. But it can be done for sure.
Okay, because he didn't give much choices as to the laparoscopy or the other thing. He just said hysterectomy. So me going in tomorrow, and I'm glad I spoke to you today, because I am going in to talk about that tomorrow, like what my options are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see what your options are, and you just be comfortable with your options. But you know, I would just caution to say, you know, they should be giving you all your options that you have. You know, don't let somebody tell you, oh, you can't do that. You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Thanks for joining.
Happy to help you. All right.
All right. Are there any recommendations on breaking down scar tissue in the midsection surgeries?
Say it again. Is it
I have so much scar tissue from myomectomy, hysterectomy, C-section, and 2 hernia repairs.
So, and she said what? What's she asking specifically?
Are there any recommendations on breaking down scar tissue from midsection surgery scars?
You know, my question would be like, what issues are you having? Because if you are typically scar tissue doesn't really cause pain like that. It can if it's very extensive, but it doesn't. So I would ask, what issues are you having, and then we would address that. If it's just looking at the skin and the skin doesn't look well because the incisions weren't done very meticulously, then that's one issue.
Audio, you sound far away.
Hold up, let me put this thing on.
Is that better?
Yeah, you sound
so
closer
if it's a skin issue, then if it's a skin issue, then you know that's one thing. You know, you can have scar revisions for skin tissue, but if you have internal adhesions, I would not go and start messing with internal adhesions unless there's another need for surgery. You know, because scar tissue, you try to remove scar tissue, it can bring on other scar tissue. So you got to be real careful with that. But there are other things like injections, like steroid injections and things that can treat certain forms of scar tissue to make things more easier for you. It just really kind of depends on what the issue is. But yeah, we have to have a deeper conversation on what's happening.
All right. What information do you need before scheduling a virtual consultation? Okay, well, that question is for him. So we're going to see if there's anything in the bubble for me. Okay, so right now there's no questions in the bubble for me. But for those of you who are just joining, you can join tonight one of 3 ways. You can request to join in person. You can drop a question in the question mark that in the bubble that has a question mark inside of it. And then I'm going back and forth between the submitted questions, so the submitted friends and family don't feel neglected.
So consultation, so what do I need for consultation? Couple of different, one, I need imaging, right? So if you're coming to me for like fibroids, then whether it's an ultrasound or MRI, CT scans are not that great, but an ultrasound or MRI report, not the actual images, I need the report of your recent ultrasound or MRI is huge. Any other pertinent thing, like if you had any other surgeries or things, maybe operative reports, but we could go through that later. The biggest thing I need is the imaging reports. From there, it's a lot of questions that I need to ask to kind of pinpoint what's going on. And that's throughout the consultation conversation that will happen. But as far as like what I actually need tangibly would be MRI ultrasound reports, which is huge. Everything else we could talk about.
All right. And also, if you get a chance, put your website and pin it as a comment, please. All right. If you were to get surgery out of state, how much of it would you have to pay? How would you have to pay all of it out of pocket? Oh, okay. All right. So if you're just joining, feel free to put your questions in the question mark bubble at the bottom of the screen. I'm going back and forth tonight between the submitted ones and the ones on the screen. But feel free to talk to each other in the chat on the screen. It's just it flows and goes up and down really, really fast. So sometimes we miss it. So it's harder for us to have the questions on there. But
What was the last one? What was the last one you said?
The last one was, if you were to get a surgery out of state, would you have to pay for all of it out of pocket?
All right. So this is what I said. So no, right? If you get a surgery out of state, use your insurance. And then the question becomes, well, what if my insurance doesn't cover it? All right. This is the best game I can give you. Like, insurance companies are multi-billion-dollar industries. They get paid from us immensely. Utilize them to your own benefit. If you know you need fibroid surgery, or you know you need some type of surgery, or if you want to utilize like services outside of your state, be smart. Just wait to open enrollment, pay for a PPO plan, the designer PPO plan, which is probably going to be about anywhere from $200 to $500 a month more than what you're paying. I understand that I won't count anybody's money or pockets or in their pockets at all. But if you do the math, right, you're literally, if it's $200, you're talking $2,400 a year. And if it's a year, if it's 5,000, then it's 6,000 a year. So you talk about $2,500 or $2,400 to $6,000 that you'll have to pay for the year to get $100 and something thousand surgery. So if you need it, just utilize the insurance. And like people say, well, I just can't, like, paying for it out of pocket. Trust me, I just went through this with a couple patients and just heard the numbers for it. Literally, for a myomectomy, hysterectomy, it's like $150,000, right? I don't see that money. I want you all to get this straight. I don't see that money. I do the surgery and everybody gets paid more than me. That will change very soon. I'm letting y'all know. This is I would say probably the next 6 months would be the time that you should utilize. If you need surgery from me and want to just use your insurance and don't want to come out of pocket, the next 6 months would be advantageous for you to do that. I am not going to be giving all this free game. Listen, I be in the operating room for like 5 hours. I was in surgery yesterday to 11:30 at night for 3 surgeries. One woman, love her to death, beautiful woman, 40 fibroids. 15 of the fibroids are literally the size of a pea or half of a pea. But I'm sitting there going through your uterus, picking out all of these small booger-sized fibroids so that you don't have to worry about them for the future. And I barely get paid for it, honestly. Think I'm playing? I promise you. Insurances, and you got to think about it like this. It's the society we live in, so overall society doesn't really value women as much. So when you look at surgeries, as a gynecologist that does surgery on women, we're on the low totem pole for getting paid. It's a fact, right? If you got orthopedic surgeries or plastic surgeries, they're on the high end. They're getting 5 figures for those surgeries. Hysterectomies, myomectomies, you're talking about like $2,000 to $3,000 max. for reimbursement. I'm not doing that shit forever. I'm telling y'all that right now. I made the dedication to help y'all, but my kids got to eat too. And if I'm sitting up there for 5 hours plucking every last morsel of fibroids you have out of there, best believe I'm about to start getting paid for this. I'm just letting y'all know. Don't get mad at me, because when y'all look at the website in 2024, it's gonna be like, I'm letting you know ahead of time that it's going to change. Okay, so don't get mad. I'm giving all this free game. I'm up here sitting up here talking to you, letting people know. I'm doing all of this stuff. So don't say that I didn't do it, because I'm doing it. But I'm not going to continue to sit back and watch y'all fly across the country right? And I'm actually doing surgeries that actually matter, preserving your fertility, getting your babies in the future. And people don't like, hey, insurance ain't paying for it. So listen, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna watch that anymore soon. So with all that being said, I'm gonna get off the soapbox. But I'm telling you right now, while you can, just utilize insurances to your advantage. I'm taking all insurances, public aid, whatever state PPOs, whatever. If my hospital and your insurance will pay for it, I'm doing it. I'm making the commitment to standing up there 5, 6, 7 hours, however long I got to stand up there to get all your fiber. I'm committed to doing that, but it ain't going to always be. Just letting y'all know. I continue to say it. You're going to look at that website one time, it's like that. And then I got people that's like, man, I need my surgery right now. Like, you on wait list October? Like I need it today. Oh, you do? I'm trying to work with you now, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be a whole fee if you want to skip the line. I'm just letting y'all know. This is what it's gonna be. But use your insurance to your advantage. You can easily use selective enrollment to get a designer plan and get this $150,000 procedure, which I don't get paid for, and get what you need and go home, right? Don't get butchered where you at. Don't go through some horrible ass surgery where you at. Like, don't do it. Like, you don't have to. You would do that for anything else. Don't play with your health like that. Use the insurance to your advantage. I'm done.
No, you're absolutely right. I definitely utilize my insurance to the fullest. All right. Next question. What are the chances of fibroid regrowth after having a myomectomy?
So that's a great question. And I would say this, and people don't want to kind of, I say it and people don't believe it, but it's this. I've been doing fibroid surgeries for an extremely long time. And I was on a actual show with this white guy is a minimally invasive specialist or what have you. And I kind of offended him a little bit, but I don't really give a shit. And I tell people, I tell you all this as well. I stopped doing laparoscopic myomectomies about 5 or 6 years ago. Completely stopped them. All of my myomectomies are open. And they're with small incisions, and I perfected methods to do small incisions for a reason. Just like yesterday, I took out 35 fibroids through an incision, literally the size of my pinky, right? And the largest fibroid was probably about this big, way bigger than the incision. I'm a magician. I figure it out. But the reason I do it open is for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I can remove all of the fibroids. Removing all of the fibroid tissue, I don't care how big, how minuscule, how big, it doesn't matter. It has to go. In addition to that, you're obligated to have a C-section in the future. So trying to do a procedure in which you do these small incisions, doing laparoscopically, and then turn around and have to do a C-section doesn't make sense. But the key to answer the question, to them not coming back in the future, is getting them all. If you get them all, the likelihood of them returning within your reproductive life, meaning before you hit menopause, is extremely low. I personally, since I've been doing them for the past 5-6 years with straight open, have not had any patients return with fibroids. So my sample size is different because the literature will tell you about 30%, 30 to 40% it can return. But that includes laparoscopic myomectomies. Even with the open myomectomies, it also includes people that say, oh, that you can't get that fibroid because it's by a blood supply. Oh, that fibroid don't matter because it's small. You don't need to do that. I see this all the time. And it's more often than not that if you have a myomectomy, your surgeon will leave fibroids, even with the open ones. Like I'm so neurotic and OCD about getting it all. I'm sitting there just because I can't. Like I got something wrong with my brain, to where it's like if I'm committed to doing something, like I gotta do it. So if I'm in there getting them, I have to sit up there and feel it 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 until it's all gone. If you do that, the chances of them coming back in your reproductive life are nil to none. That's just coming from me. You tell another gynecologist, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever. I can only tell you from my patient sample size and from the patients that I have dealt with, I just have not had it come back. And I think that is the answer. And again, there are no studies on it because gynecologists, to be honest with you, they don't do that. They get the big ones, they'll feel around and they'll get some of the smaller ones, but the pea-sized ones, they don't give a damn. They're like, it's not a big deal. They'll be fine. You have to get those. Pea-sized fibroids can be basketballs in 2 years. So you have to get that. What's up, LB?
All right. Submitted question. Can you have an anatomy issue preventing you from reaching a climax? I have seen a sex therapist regarding this before, but I am wondering if there could actually be a medical issue that I should be discussing with the gynae instead.
Yeah, little dickitis. No, I'm just playing. Let me stop.
You know what?
That was too much, John. That was too much. God damn. It's from a female perspective, as far as anatomy is concerned, I haven't really seen that. Like there's something there. Like there is, you have to understand the female anatomy, and you have to understand that there is an element of psych in it. There's an element of physical nature from the man, from the woman. There are multiple different things, and behind the curtain, so y'all know, men don't know a lot, right? We don't, from a general standpoint, we don't. Like our knowledge is pornos and our boys, like, and the faster and harder you do it, she gonna feel it. Like that's like you scream and you holler, like that's what I'm getting it, right? That like clitoral stimulation during intercourse, like erogenous zones inside of the vagina, whatever. Men have no idea about this, right? So my advice would be, number one, know your body, right? As a woman, you have to know your body. You have to be able to induce your own climax, and you have to be able to masturbate and make yourself climax in order to tell somebody else how to do it, right? So you have to find out like where your erogenous zones are, because every woman is not a clitoral stimulation woman, right? Contrary to popular belief. It's very popular, and many women have, enjoy clitoral stimulation and can orgasm off of it, but not everyone. Some women do need penetration. Some women do need, touch in different ways. Some women need both clitoral stimulation with penetration at the same time. Like some women are like, it's multiple different things, but to go into it deeply, it's like, you have to know you. And for women, for that particular woman, I would say that one, she probably hasn't mastered the art of pleasing herself first. And then two, she definitely has not relayed that to her partner. So the sex therapist can say all type of stuff, but if you haven't done those two things, then you're never going to have that issue. You say even with the rose, yeah, everybody doesn't respond to the rose, like because everybody's not a clitoral stimulate enjoys clitoral stimulation. Some women get overstimulated clitorally, and it actually is it makes it worse for them, and they want to kind of stop. You know, once they had an orgasm, they don't want you to like clitorally stimulate them anymore, or you know, they would rather penetration. Some women, you know, actually like anal. Like it's really, and some women need both. Like it just really, every woman is different. There's no two women that are the same, and each woman has to really be in tune with her body, and then have a very open and transparent communication with their partner to explain to them what they like. Like it just really, it's extremely important. But it's taboo. Like men don't want to hear it because I already know. Like you can't tell me. Like I already know you what we talk about. And then women feel kind of bad by trying to tell him like these are the things you need to know because you think he may get offended. So it's like all that stuff has to really go out the window. You're missing a whole bunch. That's what you miss. All of those things like have to be really kind of fished out, so a woman can climax. Because really, that's what it's about. That's really what it's about at the end of the day. It's all about female pleasure and climax, because we easy. You do us right, like it's coming out. Like it's like you can like it don't take much. You know what I mean? So everything should be surrounded around a woman and her arousal or whatever, but it's not, because people don't have conversations about it.
Yeah, so just because one rapper say Pound Town don't mean
Pound
everybody
Town.
trying to go to Pound
Booty
Town.
hole brown.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Everybody ain't on
Man,
that
what
same
is
rap.
happening, man? This shit is on the radio. What is going on?
It's on the radio.
God,
There's actually a radio edit for that song.
that shit is crazy. Oh, man, I was listening to that. I was like, man, where are we
There's a radio
at now?
edit for the one that be like, take this, stop pushing me. And
I'm like,
on the
come
dirty
on,
version, you
man.
say the word, but you still know what he's talking about.
And this is what like, you know, your parents and stuff be like, man, this is when you officially be like, I'm old, man. Cause I'm listening to this shit like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What's happening?
You're like, oh my goodness, when you're in the car yourself.
I'm like, what? Your booty hole brown? That's what we rapping about?
Well, speaking of booty hole brown,
God.
someone also submitted, is it actually safe to get your booty hole bleached?
No, you can. I'm not bleaching shit personally. I'm not fucking with my normal architecture of my, you know, of my cells and stuff or whatever. You can't. Shout out to Maisha. She is an esthetician I know that does it. We had a conversation that chose a few, and she is now in the business of bleaching assholes. But you know, hey, I'm definitely not shitting on her business, because you know, hey, go right ahead, go do it.
Well,
Personally,
they said, is it safe? They didn't say could you or could you not. Is it safe?
I would say this.
If a professional
it's not enough studies on it. It's not enough studies. Like if you put bleach or a whitening agent or to something, like there has to be, you know, long-term studies to make certain that it's not. Yeah, said I would mess up my t-shirt. Stupid ass. So it has to be some long-term studies on it. It's just not enough long-term study. We just started this asshole bleaching, you know, soon. I mean, recently. So it's like,
would there be a difference between the skin there than, you know, how people wear bleach stains?
Yeah,
regular
when you
faces?
bleach your skin, you increase risk of melanomas and skin cancers and stuff too, because you know it's responsive to the sun. Like, you know, you can't just block out.
Not that this was my question.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Listen, I can tell you, I don't know enough. Just intuitively, I would say you may want to do a little bit more research. I'm not a dermatologist. I can't really tell you that. But I don't know. I can't say.
Hey, Renita. All right. Do you treat endometriosis?
Yes, I do. I had that question a couple times. It's like, yes, I am a gynecologist, right? So any female pelvic pain, abnormal uterine bleeding, adenomyosis, endometriosis, pelvic floor issues, all those things. Those are in my wheelhouse. I have just made my niche fibroids. Fibroids are just something that I'm passionate about and I'm very, very good at, and I've been doing for a long time. So that's what.
All right.
You know, I deal with endometriosis, I deal with PCOS. People ask me like all of these things. I just don't put those out there because that's not, you know, what's impacting the majority of women. I can't talk about it all. Like, hey, I'm a fibroid slayer. I'm the PCOS. Ooh, I'm this, that. I deal with a lot of fibroids. So that's what I say. But I deal with everything.
Even regular annuals.
Regular annuals, do that too.
All right. Do you do laparoscopic surgery for ovarian cysts?
Yes, I do. I do laparoscopic surgery. We got somebody want to join too. I do laparoscopic surgery for everything other than myomectomies. I don't believe for laparoscopic surgery. I do for everything. I don't open for anything other than myomectomies, which are still mini lap, small incisions. And I just told you guys the reason why I do that for myomectomies. But for anything else I got to go in your belly to do, it's all laparoscopically, all small incisions, using tools on the inside. So yes. Yeah, somebody wanted to hop in here. Let's see.
All right.
So will I ever do a residency or practice in Los Angeles? Absolutely not. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Dr. P. Two quick questions, and not necessarily related to me specifically. One, can you talk about, I think sometimes women delay the treatment of fibroids for a lot of myths and things like that, but can either of you talk about kind of the, in addition to like the known symptoms, the general like unwell feeling that women get when suffering from these, and why it's so important to kind of seek treatment?
I'll let Cola handle that,
I'm
even
sorry.
though she had.
I was reading. See,
Yeah.
I'm the producer.
Yeah, they be going. They be talking. They be going. Yes, you gotta put that in the chat, Mama, about the orgasms and stuff. Like that's too much. But
I'm sorry.
Because she wants to know about symptoms. Now, mind you, I will say this: Cola had advanced fibroid disease. Like she had midget-sized fibroid. So her symptoms are going to be a little bit different. I'm gonna let her talk about it though, and then I'll give you my perspective. But I think her perspective is good though.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you just repeat the question again? I was seeing a lot going on in the behind the scenes.
She said, "What's the symptoms?" Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Dr.
the
P,
symptoms.
yes.
Okay, so my symptoms were heavy. Well, okay, when I say heavy bleeding, mine was crime scene bleeding. So I know Dr. P talked about people getting exams when they on their cycle. I don't know if he would have ever been able to give me an exam. Like I literally could go to the bathroom while I was on my cycle and the whole stall be a whole different place when I arrived. Like my bleeding was so intense, I used to have to set an alarm overnight to wake up every few hours to change not only a 8-hour pad, but I was also wearing like the Super Plus tampon, and it would fill up in 2 hours. Like it was extreme bleeding. Now it wasn't always that heavy, but it got worse and worse and worse and worse. I've always had bad cramps. Ever since the first period I ever had in life, my cramps were bad. They got better after I had children, but once I tied my tubes, they went right back terrible. So the cramping, I won't say was really fibroids, because I feel like that always was there. I started having pain after sexual intercourse. So it wasn't necessarily during, but when it would be over, my stomach would cramp really, really bad, and I would be in like intense pain to the point that my husband was very concerned, like that's not normal. And then I would still have the anemia was an issue. So Although I still feel like I get cold really easy, I don't have the shortness of breath, which I learned later was because when you're anemic, all the oxygen is not going to your body parts like it should. So I used to like get winded from 3 or 4 stairs and stuff like that. And even when I lost weight, I was still getting winded easily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get winded easily like that anymore.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then the second question is, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but I know a lot of people choose, right, patient preference to like see physicians at like academic centers. But, can you talk about the importance, Dr. Johnson, about patients having a connection with their physician who's going to treat them and feeling comfortable with them and knowing that that's what's the most important thing, because they're going to provide the ultimate care for you, whether it's at a community hospital or an academic center or whatever.
Great question. So I would say it's vital. Like you have to, like, this is something, surgeries are probably, if not the most important event that you'll have in your life. We're talking more important in marriage, more important than, your job, more important than anything. This is your health. This is everything to you. Like when someone goes into your body and your belly, like if you have to realize that they have everything in their hands. They're in complete control over you. So it's not like you can wake up and say, hey, don't do that, or don't do this, or you may need to do it. It's like you are giving them 1000% control over your life, and you have to approach it that way. So it is absolutely, it's, if a doctor says like, I don't feel comfortable with you getting another opinion or whatever, walk out the room. Like you should get 2, 3, 4, 5, however many opinions that you feel that you need to feel comfortable with going with somebody that you want. And if it's the first person that you want, you don't need another one. But you need to feel 1000% comfortable, because I'm gonna start doing posts on this stuff and whatever, because like I try to be as professional and protect like physicians as much as possible, but I'm tired. Like I'm tired of like seeing women get hurt and like things happen because people don't treat their patients like they would treat their family. And the misconception is like you could go on Google and you could see that they have great reviews, or they may have been treating somebody else and they don't look like you, and they're quote unquote great doctors, or you're just seeing these reviews or what have you, and they're just, you could pay for all of that stuff. And the reality is that there are some truly trash surgeons out here, trash, that I wouldn't let operate on my dog, but are taking care of us. And because they have these, Google reviews and things or whatever, women are going to them. And it's not like I could go and kick scalpels out of people's hands and be like, oh, don't do it, girl. I can't do it. But it's like, but what I can tell you is that if it's a little something inside of you saying, that didn't sound right, I don't know about that, listen to that. Listen to that, please. And don't be fooled by, oh, they work at Northwestern. Oh, they work at University of Chicago. Oh, they work at these prestigious places that when you go in, it's all nice and foo-foo. They offering you water and it's cookies and it's all types of stuff, whatever. And this is great or whatever. You could still get trash treatment. You could still have a trash surgeon at those places. And just like I say, like I work at community hospitals on purpose, not because I have to, it's because I want to. Like I want to be able to serve everybody, right? So that's why I'm here. So do your research and feel 1000% comfortable with who is going to be in control of your body for that particular time that they have. You have to protect yourself. Really have to protect yourself. Man, can somebody ban? Who is this troll, man? Like I tried to ignore it, but God, it's a troll.
He
Like
acting
he
up.
killing
It's
my
hectic.
soul.
He acting
Like,
up
like
in the
what?
comments.
Kill yourself, bro.
He
Like,
acting up
golly.
bad.
God, he's
Yes.
going on. I let the first couple go, but I'm like, God damn, man. Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
here?
I
I'm
would-
sorry.
Mhm.
My bad.
I would have to
digress.
second that. Like, even though I never was ever not scared of having surgery, I trusted Doc P because I was trying to lead the day of my procedure. I mean, he had to like literally talk me off the ledge, but I really did trust him. So I was just like, okay, well, I do trust you. He definitely talked to me like I was his sister, his aunt. You know, he was saying, well, this, if you was my sister or you my sister now, so this is what I would tell her, whatever. He definitely made a difference because I did interview other doctors. And I did like another doctor, but it still wasn't I didn't like them enough to operate. They were still good. And they looked like me. They looked more like me than he did.
Mhm.
But it just wasn't like he said, I was going to be asleep. So he was going to be in charge of everything that happened in that room once I went under. And that's very important.
And I will say this too. I love my black people. I love my especially my black doctors and providers or whatever, but we ain't all built the same either. So they may mean well, they might be there for you, but they like some of these skills are not there. Like, so you have to, I would say if something inside of you is saying that doesn't sound right, whether they look like you or not or whatever, like go get another opinion. Because I have so many times I've listened to people and heard what physicians have told them, and I'm just like, damn, that's so bad.
Yeah.
Like that's horrible. I've seen it. Like it's really bad. So just really be smart. Please be smart. And like I said, when I talk to patients, like I'm legit talking to you like I'm talking to you right now. Like I'm gonna talk to you like you my sister, my auntie, because that's what you deserve. And everybody's supposed to do that, but we don't. We don't. Like I'm trying to start that way for people to do that, but it's not. They just don't. Like they're looking for the dollar, they're looking for other stuff, and it's just not. It's unfortunate. But with that being said, you can't put it in their hands. You have to take control and put it in your own hands, because it's somebody out there to give you what you need. You just got to.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you both. Have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks
Okay.
for joining. Yeah, it was just a doctor that just got 20 years in prison because he was using prestigious hospitals to lure patients to sexually assault them. He was a gynecologist too. But he had got a plea bargain a while ago, but he finally got jail time this time. But he was working at all the best hospitals in the world just for that very reason, because people trust the organization instead of looking at the actual person. All right, so if you're just joining, please, I see a lot of questions going up and down on the screen. We're not watching everything. We got somebody in the comments wilding out. So please put it in the question mark with the bubble with the question mark in it, so we can definitely get to all the questions tonight. I've been trying to go back and forth between the submitted ones and the ones on the screen because people do send questions, and I was getting pinged that I was neglecting our submitted family. So if you just make sure that you're adding your question in the bubble at the bottom with the question mark. And then you also, if you want to join in person, you're more than welcome to send a request to Doc P to join the live yourself.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I've totally ignored the troll guy.
Yeah, I seen some of the stuff he said.
I
didn't even...
don't even know. I can't even figure out how to block his ass right now. So it doesn't matter.
All right. This is a submitted. Oh, you got somebody joining. Okay.
I think.
Hey y'all.
You see your hair. It looks nice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, but all we see
We can hear you, can't see you.
Okay. I don't know why you can't see me because I'm beautiful. But anyway.
We trying to see your beautiful face. We just see
we see the
front.
top of your head.
Oh, I don't
Your head.
know. Well, wait a minute.
There we go.
There we go.
Now can you see me? Hey y'all. I just thought I'd get on and say hi to my favorite doctor, this is my baby girl. I adopted her.
Yeah. She definitely have adopted me.
What's up?
And the grandbaby, the great
What's
grandbaby.
up?
That's right. Anyway, I got on because, damn, you good. You just good at what you do. You know you the GOAT. I just wanted to commend you. I am
Thank
so proud of
you. I
you.
appreciate it.
I am so proud of you. Is your daughter going to be a doctor too?
That's
Is
what
she
she's talking about.
studying?
That's what
Okay,
she's
yeah.
talking about. So
Well,
we'll see. I'm praying. I'm praying that she goes ahead and
yeah,
whatever she wants to do. I don't push her to do. I'll push my kids. Push them to do whatever they want to do. So she wants to
yeah.
do
You
what
know,
she says.
I kind I kind of went back and looked over your profile and when you was on Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
You know you the GOAT. Now, if you guys are listening to me, this man started off very, very young at his ambition and his passion. And I do understand that. I'm not trying to get you to like him because you're going to like him automatically. First of all, you know he's fine. And I know you're going to be on his page looking and peeping. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
You
Yeah.
giving the trolls ammunition, mom. Now you're giving this fool all type of stuff. He been talking about my lip. He been talking about all type of stuff. Now you got to get him started. Go ahead.
I just reported his ass. Okay.
That's all right. He miserable.
Okay. So I just reported because he ain't got nothing else
If
to
they
do with his ignorant
ain't
ass.
name,
But
you
you
ain't
know.
popping. That's the way I look at it.
5'1", 310 pounds, just miserable with life. Just can't
And
do right. Can't get right.
And so I just wanted to say for myself, I guess there people are wondering, what's she doing on there? What's she saying? Push the button and get on yourself. But anyway, um, because I'm older, you all, I don't understand a lot that's going on with fibroids. I've never had them. But as I've gotten older, I got this bladder thing going on. And it's just kind of blowing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my gynecologist years ago, I said, can you go through menopause twice? He told me no. First of all, when I first went into menopause, I didn't even know that I was in it. The only thing I knew is that my monthly cycle had stopped. I said, okay, good. You know, I'm happy, right? No big thing. That's what I thought. But dang, I hit this righteous age here. All kind of stuff is blowing up. I said, what? This must be the second phase of menopause, you know? And so, I mean, yeah, this bladder thing is just off the chain. So that
What's happening? It's two type of bladder issues. Are you having, like, I don't want to put all your business out there, but like, is it an incontinence thing or is it like a prolapse issue or what's happening?
well, what is a prolapse? What would that be?
Prolapse is when, like, your bladder starts to fall into your vagina and starts to sink in.
Wait a minute, that's funny to me. What?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so that's
if it's a what, it's not happening. It's one of the other ones.
okay.
All right. So
Okay,
like,
that ain't that. I don't believe that's happening. I guess it might be incontinent. Yeah.
who have that, it's a problem, unfortunately, that women have to deal with. But you're having like an incontinence issue where you
Yeah.
laugh, cough, sneeze. Do you laugh, cough, sneeze, lose urine, or you just feel like you got to go and you can't get there?
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, that's it right there.
The
Yeah.
So both
last
of them,
one,
both of them, or one or the other?
I can't get there. Yeah. You know, just don't make it to the bed.
All
Yeah.
right.
You
So
know.
you feel the urge, you can't get there. So I would say that to this. It's a couple of different things. Number one, a lot of times, like with urgency, it's things that we could do to help with urgency, because there are a lot of bladder irritants that we intake that
Mm-hmm.
will irritate the bladder and will cause you to feel like you have to go and you just can't make it, because the urgency is so bad and it causes an involuntary contraction or spasming of your bladder to where it induces you to have an urge incontinence. Caffeine is a huge thing that does that. So your teas, your coffees, your spicy stuff, like your citrus, like it will cause a irritation of your bladder to where you are having issues. And that could be one cup of coffee in the morning, and now you having that urgency throughout the day. So I would urge you to even reduce or eliminate your caffeine intake to see if that helps. The other thing that I would tell you to do is to like schedule your voids. So meaning like don't wait till you have to go. Like go 8, 10, every 2 hours, whether you got to go or not,
Mm-hmm.
which would eliminate the urgency part of it, and it would just
Mm-hmm.
always pretty much have an empty bladder. But at least you can make it to the bathroom. You're just scheduling it. So those are two things in which you could do that are really quick, simple fixes before we start talking about medications. Now, the medications are designed to stop that involuntary spasming of the bladder. And
Okay.
the problem with it is that there are several different ones, but the all of them except for one can have bad side effects.
I don't
So
want that.
yeah, so they can cause like dry eyes, dry mouth. Women with glaucoma can't really take them because it can cause some issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. But the other one that doesn't do those things is super, super expensive. So, and if your insurance don't cover it, you're not getting it. So
I got Medicare. They better cover it.
they might. It's called
Yeah.
Myrbetriq, and that's the one that doesn't have many side effects or symptoms. But you can try the things that I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Bet you things will get drastically better for you. They may not eliminate it, but they'll get better for you. And if it doesn't all the way eliminate it, it will. You can then look into the medication.
Trollin told me to wear some diapers. I'm gonna kick your ass when I find you. See, I'm old enough. I can do that.
So miserable in life.
You ignorant fool.
No,
You so miserable. That's a shame. But anyway,
So miserable. Like,
tell your mama to wear some diapers. But
real,
anyway, I was trying. But anyway, I reported him.
Don't worry.
So okay, Doc. That sounds really good. I do drink a lot of teas, but there are no caffeine.
You sure?
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna go look and make sure. I'm really going because I try because I don't have caffeine. I don't do coffee or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
So I try to buy the teas because I do a lot of herbal teas. I do a lot of healing teas. I do a lot of teas. I do burdock root. I just do a lot of different
Now,
teas.
mine too. Your bladder has a capacity to it. So, like, I personally pee all day, every day because I drink it.
Yeah, I know it.
Right. So
Yeah.
I pee. Like, I got to go.
Okay.
So I make like, so even me, I'm like, man, I got to go. Like, I had time out. Like, so,
Yeah,
it gets bad. So just realize like your bladder is just not like a reservoir that can hold everything. So if you drink a lot, you pee a lot. So I would recommend just scheduling the times that you got to go, every 2 hours, and you probably are going to fix a lot of your problems.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. All right. I'm going to try that, and then we'll go from there,
Awesome.
I got a shirt that I'm sending you, too. I love your shirts. This shirt has, I was going to say Cicely Tyson, but I mean Harriet Tubman, all of them on it, But anyway, because she played Harriet Tubman or whatever she played in. But anyway, so I got a shirt that I'm sending you because I love your shirts that you wear.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And we do have a GoFundMe, right?
For what? Who got a GoFundMe?
Do you have a GoFundMe? Not a GoFundMe. What do you have? Have we set up that yet?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
No, we don't do a GoFundMe for the lives or anything like that. Now, people have reached out to me before to ask about gifts. I definitely would give them a way that they can contribute, but it's definitely, this is free game. So if your heart say tip jar, that's different. Reach out to me. I'll coordinate that. But other than that, no, we don't.
So Doc, I thought the last time I spoke to y'all hard-headed children that we were going to set up something like that.
I can't do it. I wouldn't do that because you think the trolls are bad now. Them trolls would be at me. Like, I'm good.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So, okay, ladies, gentlemen, whoever are listening to this, just send a gift. It's just very appreciative. This man, I tell you, you guys need to really read about him. I mean, go all the way back. He was on Steve Harvey show, like, when he was 19. I don't know if he was that age, but he was young, right?
I'm still
And he and three other doctors were on there talking about becoming doctors. That was their passion. Do you remember those guys? Are they doing okay? I didn't follow any of them.
We doing very well. We got some big things coming out. We doing
I can't wait. Okay.
yeah, those are my best friends in the world. So yeah,
Okay.
we got big
That's
things.
good, man. That's good. Okay, I just got home from Texas. Is it hot in Chicago?
It's very humid today.
It's starting to heat up.
Very
Ah,
humid.
It's,
It
okay.
ain't necessarily the temperature, but it's humid.
Okay,
it's,
so when should I come? When the best time to come over to Chicago?
I mean,
I ain't coming in the winter.
this is the time where everybody be kicking it right now. But
Right. I was gonna say we get 90 days of summer. So if you're trying to be outside,
yeah, you trying to be outside. This is the time to come.
Yeah,
but
because I haven't been to Chicago. Last time I was there, what's that main street that everybody like to go on? Let me see.
Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, that's it. Boy, I was kicking it on Michigan Avenue. Had me a great time.
There you go.
The hotel I was staying at, yeah, I'm finna brag now. The Kardashians were there, of course, when I was there. I don't care nothing about them. I don't care who they are, but I'm just saying the security kind of made me mad, because the person that I was with was heavy security too. But
No,
at the time,
they want us to get back to the question. So
okay, excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry, but I did have a
we
question.
gonna
Okay, Doc, thank you so much. And
let me
Tola.
how that works out for you, and I will help you.
Okay,
No
the
problem.
schedule definitely helps. Definitely. Because from a patient perspective, so that somebody who asked me about my symptoms, I used to be able to hold it real long when I had the fibroids because I don't think I could feel my bladder sensation. Oh, I feel it now.
okay.
So I go on schedule.
Your bladder like,
Yeah, it's like I could breathe again.
I could breathe.
Right.
Let
So
me
I go
go.
on
That's
schedule now.
oh.
I go on schedule now because I drink a
Okay.
lot of water every day
All right,
too. So
Yeah.
I'll talk with
Thank you.
soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
bye, Nanny Lolo.
Bye.
All right. Back to the chat bubble. Or how long we going?
We'll do the 6:30.
Okay. How did you manage to stay motivated and disciplined when applying to medical school?
Very good question. I was just talking about. I was talking to somebody, well, a young man about this today. Who was discouraged because he didn't do well on the MCAT, and I would say nothing that is worth having is going to come easy, right? Everything is difficult. So if your passion is to do something, then nothing should deter you. So you have to really take a self assessment of who you are and what you really want out of life. And for me, it was nothing. Failure wasn't an option. I wanted to succeed at my dreams more than I wanted to breathe. So if I couldn't get it, then I didn't even want to be here. So it was like I had to, whatever it took. I'm running through a brick wall. I do whatever it took because that was my mentality. People say like Mamba mentality. I had that for medicine. Like it was like whatever I had to do, and I was behind. I had all type of work. I was not, good test taker. I had a lot of things I had to overcome, but my desire and my will to do everything I needed to do to get to this position, to actually help my people like I wanted to, that's really what motivated me. So it really just depends on like what motivates you. Like if you have to look 10 steps ahead. Look at what's your life gonna look like in 5 years? What's your life gonna look like in 10 years? If you are working a job in which you're not happy and you just collecting a check, what's that going to look like in 5 years? What's that going to look like in 10 years? And you're not going to be happy. So you need to focus on something that's going to be fulfilling and make you happy. And then when you start to get discouraged, always think about the alternative. It's like, what else am I going to do? Like, I have to be happy. Happiness has to be my life. It can't be about the money, can't be about fame or recognition or any of those things. It has to be something that's fulfilling to you, to fulfill a life's purpose. And then that'll be all the motivation you need to get it.
All right. Did you graduate with a lot of debt to become a doctor?
Yeah, fair amount. But if you're smart, people will pay it back for you, right? So you're in demand. So there are hospitals, there are practices, there are all types of things that are out there paid back for service. So you know, I had a debt, but I had a lot paid back for me too. And remember that school debt is the best debt you could possibly have. Like, you know, get low interest rates. And then you like, if you do certain things, you know, you make a 3-year commitment in certain places, or go to a place where it's in extreme, like in a rural location. I practice in a rural location for the first 3 years out of residency, and they paid back pretty much half of my loan. So that was half out the gate. And then, you know, just find other, oh, y'all want to pay 30 grand? Oh, hey, okay. You know, you want to pay 20? Okay, I'll see these patients for a minute, and you can piece together and you can pay it all back. So don't worry about the loans. Like, you'll make plenty enough money to be able to pay the loans back. Don't let that be a deterrent. Like, just get where you need to get.
Good. I would like to know, if I traveled for surgery, when can I fly home after the procedure? And I think that depends on what procedure they have.
Yeah, it does depend on what procedure you have. So this is for me because I'm unconventional. So, you know, I have patients that fly in for surgery, and, you know, and then go home. So for me personally, this is how I do it. I want to make sure that you are able to fly in and to leave very safely and go back home. Because what is it that we do a surgery home sick and not have a problem? So I operate usually on Tuesday, Wednesdays. People will come in either Sunday or Monday, and you're, for the most part, whether you're in the hospital 1 day or 2 days, usually are you usually will be in Chicago on Sunday. I need to see you 3 or 4 days after surgery to make sure you're okay before sending you back home. And then, you know, I utilize anticoagulants just to be super safe that there's no blood clots. Those are the biggest issues to worry about. Like if you fly or take long travels, or driving after surgery, you're worried about blood clotting. So just a prophylactic dose, or just a protective dose of an anticoagulant, and then you go back home. So less than a week. Whole span usually about 5-6 days.
All right. Sorry, I have to have my son help me with some technical difficulties. Be a lot going on.
There you go. There you go. You know how you be doing.
You know, you got to call in the young people. All right. Is age generally considered in terms of surgery? For example, if the patient is late 40s or 50s?
Is it age considered? What was the question?
Yeah. Is age generally considered in terms of surgery?
I don't understand the question too much. Is it, because it's always consideration. There's always, like, are you more cautious the older people get? Absolutely. The older we get, you know, medical issues start to pile. You know, the more questions that the more issues that you have, you know, you have to be cautious before putting a patient under general anesthesia. So yeah, the older you are, the little more cautious. The more cautious we are, you may need to have a medical clearance for surgery, just depending on what your history is, or, you know, age. You know, a perfectly healthy woman in her 50s with absolutely no issues and no medical condition may not need a clearance. But a woman in her 30s that has had, you know, heart issues and hypertension, diabetes, she may need clearance. So age is not really the only predeterminant factor. It's patient per patient, and it's also your overall health when you consider the precautions that you need to take for surgery.
All right. What are your thoughts or recommendations for a 12-year-old that is suffering from, and I'm going to spell this, HEMATOCOLPOS?
Hematocolpos? Is that what it said?
Well, I have not went to medical school. I didn't
So
hematocolpos,
that's so all right. So hematocolpos is a issue in which there is a blockage or a problem with blood leaving the uterus, and it can happen with several different things when a patient has, whether they have a stenotic cervix, which is less likely in patients that age. Usually it's something called like a imperforate hymen, or there's not an opening out of the vagina to let that blood come out, and so therefore it backs up and fills in there. So it really, that's a question in which has multitudes of different answers. It really just depends on what the actual problem is. It the problem with the cervix? Is it a problem with the vagina? Um, where the problem lies is where the answer for treatments is. So everybody's a little bit different. It's very rare for that to happen, but for the patients that have to deal with that, it's really a very, very uh, key thing to find the proper diagnosis to come with an adequate treatment plan for those patients.
All right. I think I got the chat. Let me check. Okay, no, I didn't.
Yeah, and if it's
Oh, yes, I did.
in the vagina, it's that's a slight surgical intervention. We really have to make an opening because you're going to continue to bleed. She's going to continue to bleed. So now we have to, create an opening. Whether that's a stenotic cervix or whether that's what it sounds like is a imperforate hymen. Then we have to create an opening in the hymen so the blood can release.
All right, so I got all the questions in the chat bubble and the questions, so I'm gonna go back to a couple of submitted ones. How much blood is too much blood in your stool if you have hemorrhoids?
Blood in the stool isn't good. First and foremost, if you have hemorrhoids, then there is the reasonable amount of bleeding is just enough for like a tissue paper. If you are exsanguinating out and you are having to change pads, or you see toilets full of blood, then that is way too much. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So if you still have a question that you wanted answered and you put it in the screen, please put it in the question bubble that has the question mark in it. And then we're going to end in about 10 minutes. So if you wanted to join in person, then you have 10 more minutes to jump on the live.
Yeah,
All right. So back to the hemorrhoids, or you was done?
I was done.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't have much more than that. If you bleeding in the toilet, you changing pads, listen, go see somebody quick, fast. You only have so much blood in your body. You can't be losing excessive amounts. And it's time for you to go see somebody, whether it's coming from the uterus, vagina, rectum, mouth, wherever it's coming from. You can't lose too much blood. You gotta address it.
All right.
There's questions from the bubble.
Would you, yeah, I got one. Would you perform surgery on a 52-year-old woman who does not want a hysterectomy for a 1.6 centimeter fibroid and several smaller ones?
It depends on where those fibroids are at and if they were causing her issues. So we would have to really assess whether or not those fibroids are truly causing her issue or not. But no, that would not preclude me from doing surgery on her. Now, I don't necessarily recommend doing something invasive like a myomectomy at that age, but I have a patient that's doing that right now, which I don't particularly agree with, but it's her body, and as long as she's healthy and she understands the risk, then we could talk about it for sure. And at the end of the day, it's your decision, even though I don't agree. But yeah, age does not stop surgery if you need it. But if you got really, really small fibroids like that, chances are you don't necessarily need surgery. Something else is causing you to have an issue.
All right, this one actually is for me. What does it feel like with no uterus? Is it an empty feeling? So the only difference that I noticed, and like I just mentioned that a few minutes ago, is So I used to be able to hold my urine for a really long time which is not a good thing. I couldn't feel the sensation when I had to go because the fibroids were so big. They would move, or I couldn't feel that I had to go. So that was not actually a good thing. My primary care used to actually always tell me that was a dangerous side effect because you could have UTIs, you could have bladder infections. She was like, it's not good to hold urine. Obviously, urine is waste. Now that I have had my uterus removed, I definitely have great sensation for my bladder. So I also go on a schedule because I drink a half gallon to a full gallon daily. So I could be working, and I'll forget. So I actually have an alarm to go release because I'll get the urge because the sensation works great now. I definitely feel when I have to go. But as far as like empty feeling, or do you notice, like, I don't have a uterus anymore. I have nothing that tells me I don't have a uterus anymore. The only thing that I know for sure is I don't have fibroids anymore because I actually used to feel those through my skin.
That's for damn sure. You don't have none.
I knew you was going to say that.
I'm gone. So,
Yep. So we signing off, or you?
yeah, I actually have to go do some work.
Yeah.
Deliver some babies.
Okay, well, definitely, everybody, thank you for joining. He will save this. This will be on the page. I will upload it to YouTube, and we will do it again next month. My 2 years is September. So September will be the 24-month anniversary.
Oh, we got to have a special.
I know, right? We got to have a special one. A special one for the 2 year and 2 years of us doing this.
Absolutely. Look at that.
Well, thank you, Dr. P.
I hope everybody has benefited. Even the trolls, we love y'all too.
Yes, we definitely get popular if we get trolls to join our live.
Trolls, I love them. Hey, just I do jujitsu 3 days a week. If you ever want to come through,
yeah, you
I got
join the live so we could do this together.
I promise you, chokes and submissions for your ass. Please, south side and north side, please come through so I can choke the hell out you. I'm done. Okay, we cool. Ignorant in me.
All right.
Everybody.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.